Welcome back to the Profitability Podcast. Hey, everybody. Kenzie, we have popped off on TikTok. And by popped off, I do mean more than 300 views. Everybody clap for me. I'm so excited. I'm just laughing so hard. I was actually just in a meeting talking to another business owner about content and how to get things to stick, which I have no business discussing whatsoever. But I was just laughing because I'm feeling all cool about myself because one of my videos this weekend got 12,000 views, which feels really exciting to me. But more than that, the accounting bros are coming for us, Kenzie. No, I shouldn't say the accounting bros. It's just the men.
Yeah.
They're not actual accountants.
Men in general.
But man, it's been fun.
Good time.
It's been a good time. I'm having the best time reading these comments and just being like, what is happening? And we talked about this earlier this week, but I'm a year ago, I think I would have been like, oh my gosh, should I say something wrong? Or how dare I piss somebody off? And now I'm like, oh, honey, sweetie, don't put that on the internet. You're guaranteed to be audited now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And also, I just think social media is so funny because if you don't like the content or you don't agree with it, just keep scrolling. You took time out of your day.
Yes.
To write an ugly comment to us to let us know how wrong we were.
Yes.
Just why?
And then to put that out there so confidently, honestly, you have to admire the ego.
It's
because the things they are putting out there, again, I can have my opinion, you can have yours, by all means. In fact, it's kind of a fun conversation. But some of the comments, I'm like, no, that's straight up wrong. All the CPAs in my network are messaging me going, this guy's literally committing fraud. And he just admitted it on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Honestly, I admire the confidence. I wish I had that kind of.
Yeah.
I could be so confidently wrong and not fight back. Because, and I'm really outing this guy right now, but the one guy that I'm thinking of specifically, when I did respond to his comment, he responded to that video with 4 paragraphs of here's what I was actually meaning and what I'm actually talking about and why you're he doubled down. And I was like, my guy.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to be wrong.
He probably thinks that we're coming at him when in reality we're this is funny and we're just going to play with this, Yes. It's not that serious. It's just not that serious, my guy.
You make a good point because, and I tried to explain this in my video. Obviously, I didn't do a very good job responding to this specific comment, but I'm the reality is I'm not mad at you for doing what you want to do. It's not my job to report people to the IRS. I could not care less. As long as I'm not the person signing your tax return, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
That will sign off on that?
Go for it. Or if you're going to sign, go for it.
Yeah.
That's your business and it's not my job. I'm not the police, right? I'm not the IRS. I don't work for the IRS. I don't care what you do. That's your business. My point of responding to his video or responding to his comment was that there's so much misinformation that I feel I'm in a constant uphill battle of no, you actually can't do that. Please don't.
Yeah.
And just people telling me why. I don't know. It was more
How many times have we had people come and be like, oh, I saw this on TikTok. And we're like, well, part of that is true, but here's all the other things that go along with that or whatever,
Yeah, I've been thinking.
Give me that.
One of the things I've been thinking about a lot this week with this video and these. Okay, first I have to address the fact that this video wasn't even about accounting. That's the best part of the whole thing. Is the whole video was me saying business owners are doing better than they think they are. I happen to know for a fact because I see the actual ins and outs, the actual cash flow, the actual revenue. I see the tax returns, I see the payroll, I see the whole thing, right? And because of that, I can confidently tell you you're doing better than you think you are. That's the whole video. Just trying to put positivity in on the internet today, right? And people were just so mad. They're like so upset about this. But I've been thinking a ton about like how people view accountants and how even before I got into this business, I think I was one of these people that believed that the accountant works for or works with the IRS, right? And then there's like all these people on the internet that will tell me what I can actually do with my taxes that aren't accountants. And the truth is the hacks, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes very loosely here, but like the hacks that these people on the internet over here are talking about are legal for some people and are not legal for others. It is not a gray area. It's in the tax code. The IRS wrote the book. Whether your accountant chooses to implement that for you or not is based on their comfortability. Is that a word?
And I think their evaluation of your business.
Your situation. Is it legal according to your situation or is it not? It's not a hack. It's not some secret. The IRS isn't trying to keep all this information from you. They literally wrote the book on how to take advantage of this. Your CPA's job is to tell you, yes, according to my expertise, you can utilize that, or no, I don't think in your situation you can. I don't get a kickback from the IRS if I make you pay more in taxes.
No.
I wish I did.
We don't want our clients to pay the most in taxes. Like,
that's how we lose clients.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
we make less money the more money you pay in taxes because you're mad at us. Like, if I can do you favors, I promise I will do them.
Absolutely.
If I can't, I'm so sorry. Like, it's just that it's my license on the line and your tax return, your ability to be audited, your, risk exposure that's also on the line. And I'm trying to protect you. That is my job, is to protect you from risk as much as I possibly can. And I hate when people are like, I'm a huge risk taker. Great. Sign your own tax return. I love to take full advantage when we can.
Absolutely.
It's just, anyways, the internet's making me mad, but I am having a good time answering all the comments because I love to see what people are saying and what they're thinking.
Yes.
But it does crack me up.
Yeah. My sister was like, this week was like, I am loving Joey's content this week. I think it's hilarious. And she was like, the best part is that all of these bros are mad. And then all of these like other licensed people are coming into Joey's comments and going, actually, Joey's right.
Yes. And again, like as CPAs, it's not like we're teaming up against the general public. Our competition is other CPAs. So if they're agreeing with me, I'm sorry, I'm right. Additionally, like, shout out to Keyston, my BFF, my hero, my absolute, like, I love her. I think she is the smartest human being on earth. She's a licensed CPA. For those of you who don't know, she works for another firm. We have desperately tried to recruit her 100 times. She is too good for us, and we are fully aware of that. And we've come to terms mostly with that. I think I'll attempt to recruit her till the day I die because I love her so much. But I just think she's so smart. And she was the one in my comments that was like, by the way, my husband reviews loans for a living and he is on the floor. Like, this is crazy work. This is crazy. Yeah. So I'm like, it's not even the CPAs that are like conspiring against you. It's like, this is how the world works. These are the laws. This is the system. Yeah.
The bank is going to look at that stuff and be like, that's sketch.
That's illegal. Like, we're good luck getting a loan. It's just crazy work. I just think it's so funny. I do feel proud of myself for like letting it just be fun and funny and like just taking everything with a grain of salt because I used to spiral about all of that. So that feels like progress, but it really has just been like a good time this week being like, wow, people are crazy.
Get mad about stuff and they'll let you know, I guess.
Crazy. And I think it's just really solidified that like the people we work with, not to be like not all men, right? But like the people we work with come to us and they're like, we trust you that you are doing everything in your power for us. And of course, we're happy to explain what we are doing and how we can help and all the things. Um, but it's just, you know, like the analogy that keeps coming to my head is of dentists. And I think I've said this before on our podcast is like, your dentist doesn't tell you to brush your teeth every day because he's part of big dental that's like in
Like
a
he gets
cult
paid
trying
from the
to confuse you.
president,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, he's trying to tell you to brush your teeth so you save money next time you come visit him because you don't have any cavities. It
Yeah.
actually
Or you don't
does
have to get
not benefit his
dentistry, or
right.
you
Like
know. Yeah.
his bottom line is less the more you keep up with maintenance. It's the same thing in our business. Like we do better when you save money in taxes. We are not part of some secret organization trying to like get you to pay the IRS. If you don't agree with how we do things, that's totally fine. That's totally fine as another CPA, as a human being, as a law abiding citizen. I don't care. I don't care. What I do kind of expect from my clients is that level of trust that like I work for you. I do genuinely want to help you. And I will work my butt off for you whenever and wherever. Um, and as long as we're on the same page, we're gonna have a great relationship. Like things are gonna go really well for us.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
um, anyways, that's neither here nor there. But that's my update for this week. I'm just having a great time.
Our
I'm
fun
just
little
like,
update.
going after the crazies on the internet. They're somehow crazy, mostly men in their 50s. But my dad, who is also a white man in his 50s, left the best comment, I thought, that was like, oh, these poor guys didn't know you were raised on babysitters clubs and balance sheets. And I'm like, if that's not the truth, like,
True. True that.
I need that in my bio somewhere.
Yes.
Raised on,
Hat. We need a hat or a shirt that says
oh,
that. It's our new
brilliant.
it's our new
That's
slogan.
brilliant. Accounting girl merch coming your way
Yes.
soon.
We're gonna
Kenzie's
have a
idea. I love that. That's so great. Um, okay, cool. Well, today we have a really fun episode because, spoiler alert, and I feel comfortable sharing this because of the cute people that listen to our podcast are all friends of Sharon, who is my friend, and that's all. Those are the people that are listening to our podcast. So I'm like, we're gonna share all the secrets today. Um, I have been for probably the better part of a year writing a book about my findings as a fractional CFO for small businesses, specifically about kind of the money psychology, I guess, of specifically small business founders, first time founders and owners of small businesses. And I recognize that like money psychology, actually the book, The Psychology of Money is what it's called, is like really big right now. And financial psychology is nothing new. However, I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about it in the scope of founders. And I've kind of been putting this book off because I'm not a therapist, and a lot of what I'm talking about feels like therapy. And I'm like, well, first of all, this is not my area of expertise. And second of all, I'm not like, for lack of a better word, I'm not like woo woo, right? Okay. I'm not like, mm, I don't know how else to say that. Help me out here. Like, what am I trying to say? I love numbers, right? I love spreadsheets. I love P&Ls. Like, that is my jam.
yes. Yeah.
I was raised to believe that you run your business by the cold, hard numbers of your business. And I believe that to my core. I don't think I'll ever get over that. However, in my journey as a CFO and a business owner myself, I've discovered that I can't effectively do that until we address the root of how we feel about money. I do believe that money is incredibly emotional, especially for founders. Does
Yes.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've been like putting it off because I keep telling myself like, no, I like the facts. I'm not a psychologist. Like I want to work with P&Ls. But the reality is most of my work with my clients as a CFO is talking about what's coming up for them emotionally or why those emotions or those feelings or those, preconceived notions are holding them back from
Yep.
profitability. And it
Yeah.
happens every single day, even for me as a business owner, which has been really interesting. So the book is happening. Working title. I don't know what it's called yet. I don't have any deadline of when it's going to be released other than I'm speaking on it at Intuit Connect in 2 months. So I got to get it done. Got to get it done. So I'm hustling, but it's getting there. So chapter 1, we're going to talk about today because chapter 1 is all about why money is emotional. The research that I've discovered, the more that I've kind of gone down this rabbit hole of like, how do I help my clients get over these roadblocks? Come across a ton of research that supports this theory, which has been super interesting. So I kind of dived into that a little bit. And then I introduced 2 characters, which is really the thesis of what we're going to be talking about. Also, Kenzie has not seen the book yet. Kenzie has no idea what I'm talking about.
Nope.
And I was like, do you want to read this? And she was like, I mean, I'm happy to. And then I was like, you know what? I actually don't want you to read it because I'm going to try and explain it to you. And then you're going to tell me what you don't understand, what comes up for you. Like, I want your perspective on it. So that's how this episode's going to go today. We're going to talk about these 2 characters that I've come up with and like see if this resonates with anybody and kind of get into it. So, you ready? Okay, great. Let's pull it up. I had it pulled up actually. Here it is. Okay. So, how much research do I want to get into? Research is so boring, but it's what convinced me that this book was worth writing because I was like, again, this is feeling a little woo-woo for me. But then I read the research and I was like, oh crap, like we actually do need to know this. Basically, okay, this is what I'm going to tell you, is in the 18th century, I know I've already lost you, but just hang with me. There were a series of riots that they call the bread riots. Basically, what was happening is every time there was a shortage of bread, vendors would raise their prices and the people would riot. And the people would be like, this is a basic need. I need bread. And we don't feel that it's fair that you get to just raise your prices just because of supply and demand. Thoughts on capitalism aside, okay, because I was raised by an econ major, so supply and demand was like in my baby's first words book, okay? Like I have a love for capitalism. So I'm not saying I agree with that thought, but the point is that this research study, and it goes on in the book for quite a while, so sorry, basically proves that our existence in humanity, the default setting has always been that money is emotional. It's actually a newer idea that money should not be emotional, it should be factual. As a society, relationship, back and forth, spending and buying and selling was more common. You traded, right? Your services with your neighbor. And then after you traded those services, you had to see them at church the next day. Like you had to have a relationship with this person and this vendor. And so of course you were bartering, you were making these decisions based on more than just supply and demand, more than just the value of the product or service. It was based on your relationship with this person, you know, a million factors went into these decisions. And then along the way, we decided that capitalism mattered. And again, thoughts on that aside, we've recently converted to the idea that money should be a hard, cold fact. And that's just not realistic. It's just not going to happen that way. I'm so sorry if that's what you wanted out of your life. If you can reach that, congratulations, except for, so like we've been conditioned that money's not emotional. I'm telling you, money shouldn't, that money is emotional. And I'm actually going to take it a step further and say the more that you try and make it not emotional, the less likely you are to succeed financially. And here's why. Okay, thesis statement here. I'm going to just say that one more time to make it super clear. If you try to take all emotion out of money, you will be less profitable. That's my thought and my hypothesis. Okay, that brings us to character number 1. We call him Robot Dad.
Oh.
And I love Robot Dad because he is very not loosely based on my own dad. I have received explicit written permission from my dad to share these facts about him. And as I say in the book, he actually takes all of this as a compliment. So it's great. Okay. There is a scientific name for Robot Dad. It is not a concept that I made up. It's actually a thing. It's called Homo economicus. And I know I can use big words. I know. I sound so smart. I don't like saying Homo economicus over and over again, so I decided that the concept they were describing sounded a lot like my dad, hence the name Robot Dad. Okay. Robot Dad, or Homo economicus, is this idea that money is purely logical, that there is this human out there, this person, or this idea of a person that can make decisions about their money, perform all their financial behaviors, do all the things related to money without letting emotion creep in at all. They price based on the market, supply and demand. It's a perfect formula that they have in their head, and they make that decision, and then they never think about it again, right? They look at their bank account balance, and it's purely information, and they move on with their day and decide if they need to spend money or save money or do whatever. It has nothing to do with who they are, it has nothing to do with their character, and it's also totally and completely false. It's a fallacy. Robot Dad is not a real human, despite the fact that he is based on my dad. He actually does not exist. And the reason that this exists is because it's really easy to build a financial model around the simplest, basically caricature of human behavior, right? Like scientists take the average of what's happening and they flatten it as flat as they can and they simplify it as much as they can. And then that's what they make systems based off of. The problem is humans are a little more complicated than that.
Right.
You with me so far? Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm following.
All right. So here's what you need to know about my dad. He's super smart. Kenzie knows my dad. My dad likes Kenzie more than he likes me. Okay? Like
only slightly.
he calls her his second daughter. He has 2. What does he call you?
Third. I don't know. Another daughter? I don't know.
Yeah,
Something.
other daughter. He's like, how's my other daughter?
Yeah.
She calls him and he's like, hey. I call him. He doesn't answer. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. I don't have feelings about it. He is funny and so freaking smart and super intimidating because he's so smart. But he is a total people person. Like we joke that the old ladies in our ward all have a crush on him because he has such a soft spot for these old ladies. Like he's just so kind. They really do. Like I'll save these stories for another. Like one of these old ladies at his church was like touching his hair the other day. It's like a whole thing. Like people love my dad. Okay. He's so freaking smart and truly one of the funniest people I've ever met. Okay. If you ask him if he's ever made an emotional decision, let alone an emotional financial decision, he would say no to the point where he'd be like offended. Like, how dare you accuse me of such a stupid thing, right? Like, maybe blame it on the boomer generation. Like, I think they all have a little bit of this. Blame it on whatever you want. The fact that he's an econ major, he like built his identity on capitalism, right? Like he loves all of this stuff. Whatever it is, he's like, never in a million years would I make an emotional financial decision. He's probably Robot Dad, right? Is probably also the guy that you call when you're at the car dealership as a daughter and you're like, yo, is this a good deal or not? Right? Like he's the one that's not going to bring in emotional baggage to a financial decision and help you make your grown-up finance decisions. And we love him for that. We really, really do. The problem is my dad loves the joke, like no feelings, just spreadsheets. That's like the core of
Yes.
my upbringing, in case anyone was wondering. And we tease my dad that he's a robot all the time, and I genuinely believe he thinks it's a compliment. He's like, "Thank you, that's the
Thank
standard."
you. Yes.
The problem is that even though he's right about probably every other thing in business, I think he's wrong. And that's taken a lot of guts for me to say that my dad's wrong. Like, my dad is not wrong, but I actually do genuinely, my heart of hearts, believe that he is wrong, that money should not be emotional. And um, despite the fact that he always makes the logical decision and he quote unquote claims that he doesn't panic when revenue's down, or he doesn't lose sleep over payroll, I think he's lying to himself if he's a real human being. But additionally, um, that concept was really never meant to describe real people. I mean, how many founders have we worked with, Ken's, that that's true for them, that they can make those decisions without any emotion? None.
None.
Like, I can't think of
Yeah.
any.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. So I think it's a fallacy. And I think just realizing that despite the fact that your dad acts like he's robot dad when you call him from the car dealership, the reality is your dad would also lose sleep over payroll, right? Like anyone would. And so the concept that that's something you should be ashamed about or something that's bad or something you need to fix is what I want to get over today. We don't need to get rid of that. Robot dad is not the standard. In fact, robot dad is, again, keeping you from being profitable. I think somewhere along the way we blurred the two things. We, instead of treating robot dad like a model, we started treating him like the goal. Because again, this is a financial model that was simplified to build behaviors off of. But all of a sudden, for whatever reason, we've decided he's the goal. We're smarter, we're less irrational, we're, I don't know, more successful if we can get rid of
Right.
the emotion and be more like robot dad. We assume that the healthiest relationship with money is one where our numbers stay numbers. And truthfully, I believed that for a very long time because of the career I'm in. I think a lot of accountants believe that numbers are just numbers. And we'll talk about kind of what I call the advisor gap of why your accountant doesn't do a good job for you. Because your accountant was literally taught, as was I, that numbers are just numbers are just numbers. And that's all we need to look at and that's all we need to factor in. And that is just not working for my clients. The harder I try and push that, the worse it turns out for all of us. And I don't connect with people. I don't give them good advice. They ignore their founder intuition because the numbers on paper aren't adding up. I could tell 1,000 stories of why numbers staying numbers is actually the worst advice I could give you. Now, numbers are numbers and can be information, but it's
Yeah.
not the only factor.
No.
Okay. So, numbers affect our confidence, our relationship, the way we see ourselves. And it's just, again, not only is robot dad an unfair standard, but it's scientifically and psychologically just not going to happen. And again, I would take it a step further and say the more you try and make it happen, the less you do. Okay. That's robot dad. We've met him. We understand him. I have a cute AI drawing of him. He's so cute. I love him. He has little tweed elbow patches and glasses, and I love him. Okay. Robot dad is the best. Robot dad is character number one of our. I haven't come up with the word that I want to use. If anyone's listening and has suggestions for me, and maybe this is a thing that already exists and I just haven't done enough research, but you know how we reference like the patriarchy as like a cultural thing that like everyone was raised inside of and creates beliefs off of? I have a theory that there's this like money system that we're all abiding to, we're all forming opinions based on, that is actually totally false. I don't know what it's called yet, but robot dad is pillar number one of that system. Okay. He has made us believe that he's the goal and he's influenced our decisions to make us try and be less emotional. I we'll come back to Robot Dad and what I believe about him. But he's pillar number 1. We have another pillar, but before I get to character number 2, I want to talk about finance as self-help. Kenzie, have you ever read a finance book about budgeting, envelope systems, not to name names, anything along those lines? Or maybe not read a book, but like, do you listen to any podcasts or see any TikToks, or like, do you consume anything like that
Yes.
in your day to day?
I will be honest, I am not a self-help book reader of
Probably for the
any sort.
best. Yeah, it's probably for the best.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
But I will listen to podcasts, or I will get on that side of TikTok of like different systems and budgeting and money saving and accounting principles and different things like that.
So
Zoom media of the
yeah, yeah,
sorts.
yeah. And it's everywhere, right? This is a massive industry that's making
Yes.
a ton of money
Yes.
of how to control your finances because everyone wants more money, right?
Yeah.
I contribute with my business to that industry. If we had let Robot Dad stay in textbooks and just used him as like an example, but like a very flattened example, I think we would have been okay. The problem is that we took him off the page and we now made him a podcast host and a successful author 3 times over, and he's everywhere. And I am not going to name names, but you all know who I'm talking about. There's like a handful of very successful ones. One in particular, we're going to talk about him a little bit, but anybody that's giving financial advice widespread has some version of this happening. And the problem is that we've now moved it from, and it's really interesting that you said this, we've moved it from financial education to self-help. Self-help comes with a lot of morality, a lot of judgment. And every finance book, every TikTok that I'm watching, every podcast about how to be better with your finances introduces a lot of language about if you're a good person or not. And it's funny because once you notice that, you start seeing it everywhere. Think of the last TikTok that you watched where someone was either coaching somebody else about their finances or like going through bank statements with them. The judgment is harsh. Harsh. And they will rip them to shreds. And people love it, right? They love watching it. And I get the shock and awe of it. But it's not just, hey, you made a bad financial decision. It's,
Right.
this was incredibly irresponsible. Or when are you going to grow up and be an adult and start behaving like a good human being? It is everywhere. And it is a massive problem.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to that. This I'm building up to the like core of my whole book. I'm very excited about it. So hang with me. But like, if you've ever noticed that budgeting starts feeling less like a system and more like self-control, you've been affected by the system. Living below your means is not just a practice, it's a discipline. Debt is not just debt. Overspending is not just overspending. Missing a financial goal isn't just a setback. It's now evidence that you're irresponsible, you're undisciplined, you're a child, you need to grow up, you need to be better. You are good or you are bad. Have you ever heard someone talk about your marketing strategies in a way that tells you if you are a good human being or a bad human being? I don't hear that very often. I don't watch podcasts about how to do better marketing and be like, how irresponsible of you to get a TikTok that didn't get more than 3,000 views. No one says that because it's not a reflection on our character at all. And honestly, again, church according to Joey, I don't believe finance should be either. So I'm here to dismantle the money system, okay? That is the core of my book.
Yes.
Introduce character and pillar number 2. His name is King Feelbad. And he reminds me of a character from Daniel Tiger. Like King Friday. Isn't that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I always picture. Prince Friday? No, one of them's Wednesday. One of them's
Yeah,
Friday. And I say Daniel Tiger, but it was really Mr. Roderick. Both of them, right? But
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
picture. Okay,
Yes,
can you feel bad?
yes.
If Robot Dad doesn't have feelings, King Feelbad wants you to have feelings, but the only feeling you're actually allowed to have is shame. King Feelbad is convinced that shame is the best financial strategy that exists. He believes that if you just feel bad enough about spending or debt or whatever financial decision that you're making today, that you will finally become responsible. In his mind, shame isn't a side effect, it is the strategy. And again, you've probably met him before. He is a podcast host, he is an author, he is your grandpa. I don't know. They exist in a million different forms. Um, Maybe I should throw a female in there because this is not exclusively about men. I know a lot of moms that love to wear the King Feel Bad costume. I'm probably one of them. But as someone in her 30s, it feels especially my mom is not like this. Thank heavens, because the trauma. But like I know a lot of moms that love the King Feel Bad passive aggressive guilt trip, right? About spending, about money. That's King Feel Bad showing up. Okay. So you've met him before. And he eventually I think both of them eventually start to blend and start to sound like your own voice, which is important here, is we need to kind of extract that and identify them for what they really are. This is not you talking to yourself. This is them. Okay. The tricky thing about King Feelbad is that he doesn't usually give bad financial advice. Usually what he's saying is actually very true, although I disagree with a lot of the investment and debt strategies, but that's neither here nor there. Most of the time, things like saving for emergencies or giving every dollar a job, those are good things to do with your finances. The problem is that while the advice is good, what he attaches to it is wrong. Little by little, financial habits stop being skills that you can learn and start becoming evidence again of your character, whether you're responsible or you're a failure or you're successful or you're irresponsible, like any of those things. And money stops measuring your finances, it starts measuring you as a human being, which is a problem for me. Because once money starts measuring you, shame becomes impossible to avoid. And every purchase or every time you make a decision about your money, it has the potential uh, to make you feel like you need to justify it. Every time you buy a swig, you feel some kind of way, right? Guilty, bad, irresponsible, whatever. And that's exactly where King Feelbad wants you to be, but the opposite of where I want you to be. Here's why. And this is where I get into a little bit of therapy, but I need you to hang with me. I've done enough research. I am not a psychologist, but I know a little bit. Okay. When you feel shame, your brain starts producing a hell of a lot of cortisol. And as we know, cortisol makes you puffy, and we don't want to be puffy. But additionally, it clouds your judgment, okay, which is probably more important, but like they feel equal in my mind. When your brain is swimming in cortisol, you make worse financial decisions. End of discussion. So when I say things like Robot Dad and King Feelbad actually hurt your profitability, this is what I mean. When you start placing judgment on yourself for the spending habits that you have, for how much revenue is coming in the door, what you're paying yourself, it doesn't matter to me. Anything related to your money. When there is a judgment around it and you start feeling shame, you are going to make a worse financial decision next time, not a better one. And I know what you're thinking, and that is, but if I don't learn from my mistakes and I just go, oh, everything I'm doing is fine, then I'll just spend myself into oblivion. And I would agree with you, which is why I would like to point out that I have learned there's a difference between shame and there's a difference between guilt. Guilt inspires you to do better next time. It does not push buckets of cortisol into your brain. It just says, oh, I didn't like the consequence of that decision. I'll make a better decision next time. And that is it. That's the end of that discussion. Shame sends you on a spiral. It is literally called the shame spiral. It's a thing that I did not make up. It is out there. And it is, you kind of have to think of it as a downward spiral because every time you go around, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and harder and harder and harder to come out of. And science has proven that to us. Every time we feel shame and then make the same decision again, which is what shame does because, again, our cortisol is high, so we're making bad decisions, and then we go around the loop again. So now we're upset again, and it just goes and goes and goes. It is impossible to start making better financial decisions. So I'm okay with guilt. If you make a decision you don't like the consequence of, it's not turning out how you want it to be, by all means fix it. I am not saying just ignore everything and everything's fine and sunshine and rainbows and don't pay attention. Not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is we just need to get King Feelbad out of the way. Questions, comments, concerns. I feel like I'm lecturing you. Tell me
No.
what resonates with you, if nothing else.
I keep thinking like shame is something like if I am kind of in that shame spiral, like what brings me out of it, right? Like how can we get out of these shame spirals when we feel like, oh, I am feeling more shame than I am feeling guilt? And I think the other thing is that like money is emotional. It always is. Like I don't care who you are, but it is
Yes.
emotional. And there's going to be these different emotions tied to money. And Joey is going to teach us how to make decisions. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read her book. I don't know where it's at. But we have found in our business that we can help these business owners make financial decisions based on the numbers and the spreadsheets while also feeling the emotional part of that.
Yes.
And making them work together, right? Like it can be a relationship that works well together because you can feel guilt and make a better decision. And you also can look at your numbers and be like, we did a kick a job this month. Look at where we at and we're happy. And those are emotions. Like if you've
Yes.
never looked at your balance sheet or your P&L and been like, heck yeah, like we did what we wanted to, we made our goals and been super pumped about it, you're lying.
Yes. And the more you try and get there, and this is the whole thing, and actually the next part that I want to talk about, the more you try and get to the point where you're like, I'm not going to feel anything, the tighter the shame spiral gets. Because again, now you're shaming yourself for feeling anything. And you're making yourself making bad decisions because of that. So I don't want you to not feel anything. I just don't want you to feel a ton of shame. That's it. And whether the shame is, well, my dad taught me better, or I should just be logical like this business owner that's in my head that is robot dad, right? Like, well, they don't get emotional about their financial decisions. I am here to tell you, yes, they freaking do. I met them, they're my client, I work with them, I know their financial decisions. And every time I get on a CFO call, whether the business is $200,000 or $20 million, they come to me and they're like, what am I going to do? I'm losing sleep. They are feeling the same emotions you are. I
Yeah.
promise you that.
Even business owners that have been in business and have good numbers and they have like good emotions around their money, regardless of whether that emotion is how am I going to make payroll or, hey, how can I better my business? There are emotions tied either way.
Exactly. And so the core of my book, and we're not going to get into all this today. Today we're talking about Robot Dad and King Feelbad, but the core of my book is to present the system and highlight the decisions and the moments that either put you on the upward spiral to make better financial decisions and be more profitable, or are forcing you on the downward spiral that are making you feel worse about yourself, making you want to quit, and making worse financial decisions. And if I can get you on the upward spiral, then when I come to you with a P&L and we do the actual like cold hard facts part of it, we can do it really well because your brain isn't swimming in cortisol. And we can actually make those decisions together without these big, crazy emotions. I shouldn't say crazy. That's not a PC word anymore. But like
Big
the
emotion.
big, inaccurate emotions that are making you feel a sort of way about your character. Turns out if revenue drops 22% this month, you're not a bad person. Turns out sometimes it's not your fault. Or there's a system that does need fixing that you can go fix, and that's all it needs to be. It's just a piece of information telling you to fix a system. It doesn't mean that you should quit or you should have stuck with your W-2. So that's where I'm trying to get with this book is like, how do we get founders on the upward spiral so that I can talk to them and actually get through to them? Sense? Here's the other fun piece of these two spirals that are happening. Everyday people, normal human beings, experience this same thing. We could apply the same concept whether we're talking about personal finance or business finance. The problem is that entrepreneurs feel 10 times more than the normal human being for valid reasons. There's a study called the coffee mug study. I think that's what people call it. It's pretty well known. Basically, researchers gave everybody a coffee mug and they told half of them, how much would you sell this for? This is your coffee mug. How much would you sell it for? And the other half, they gave the same exact coffee mug and said, how much would you buy this for? What happened was the people that owned the mug and were going to get money from the mug priced it way higher than the people that were buying the mug because ownership makes you feel a certain way. Psychologically, you place a higher value on it when you've made it, when you've owned it, when you created it, whatever. No freaking wonder you feel a type of way about your business. Hello, it's yours. You own it. Okay. There's emotion there, of course. Additionally, other research shows us that when you make decisions, any kind of decisions, financial or otherwise, under stress, under a time crunch, in harsh conditions, you're not making the best, most logical decisions. They're somewhat emotional. Founders make every single one of their decisions, again, financial or otherwise, in harsh conditions every freaking day. We are stressed out of our minds.
Yes.
We don't have time to wait around because business is moving on without us. We don't get a lot of sleep. We have 3 kids that interrupt our podcasts, right? Like we are in intense we are in intense conditions all the time. So of course, emotion is here for us. In fact, it's here for us more than it is for normal, everyday human beings. The environment that we make decisions in is insane. So again, if you're beating yourself up for having emotions about money, I'm here to tell you, science says you better or you're not in stressful enough conditions. Something's not right. You're not working hard enough. I don't know. So between the ownership and the conditions, of course, we're going to have things. Last piece that I want to talk about, last piece of research that kind of supports this theory. And I talked about this yesterday on social media. In 2014, they did a bunch of studies, 168 studies to be exact, that where they wanted to find out if financial literacy was the problem. If people were spending or, making poor financial decisions because they just didn't know any better. So they taught them a whole bunch of financial literacy. It made 0.01% difference. You could know everything there is to know about accounting. You will still make bad financial decisions. I am living proof. Okay. I hate to break it to you guys. If you guys thought I had it all together financially, I could tell stories. And in the book, I do tell very vulnerable, very pathetic stories about the business's financial situation at times, my personal financial situation at times. I know a lot about what I'm quote unquote supposed to do with my money. I still don't do it. So if I don't do it, Kenzie might. I haven't asked.
Wrong.
But I think we're invested enough in our beading careers at this point. We love to bead and we spend enough at Hobby Lobby. I'm
Bead,
going to venture to
bead with a
guess.
D,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, bead
not T,
for the
T.
second podcast in a row. We spend enough money at Hobby Lobby that I'm going to
Yes.
venture to guess that even though she has it more together than I do, financial literacy is not the problem here. So again, I'm happy to sit down and walk you through how to read a P&L. I don't think it would help. In fact, research shows us it does not help. If that's the case, my question is, then what the heck is your accountant doing to help you become more profitable? If teaching you about your P&L, yeah, exactly. If I provide you financial statements and I educate you on your numbers and that makes 0.01% difference, what is my job? I'm going to say that getting you on this upward spiral is my new job. Because once we do that, again, the P&L actually might make a difference. It might actually help you make better, more than 0.01%. That's my theory. So that's what we've been trying at the Profitability Project. And it's working really freaking well. And it's so fun. We're having the best time doing it.
We really are.
So again, my theory here is that if we take the numbers, because those are important, you do have to look at your P&L. But we're getting to that step in book number 2, okay? Book number 1, the whole first book, is just getting you on this upward spiral and getting you out of what we're lovingly calling the money pit, which I think is amazing. Getting you out of the money pit and onto the profit spiral. If I can do that, I can almost guarantee profitability because then we can look at the numbers and we can make those decisions no problem. Okay? So here's my homework for all of you today. That's the first chapter. We've made it through. The homework and today's takeaway is that I need you to start hearing those judgment calls happening in your brain every time you make a decision, particularly about finance. But I've found the more that I identify this, that I feel this with my weight, with my social media, with my relationships. I make all kinds of judgments, and that's why we're in therapy, right? But like the more that I identify these two characters in my brain, the easier it is to start making more logical decisions, which sounds really backwards, right? The problem is I don't want you to just fire them. Okay, we're not going to like kick them out and give them a finger, although we want to. And sometimes that's what they need. They need a little, you know, demotion. But what we're going to do is give them the little like Alice in Wonderland shrink me drink. We're just going to shrink them down a little bit. We want them to stay. They're trying to protect us. They love us. They're trying to keep us from making bad decisions that are going to hurt us later. And we love them for that. We really do. They're just not in charge anymore. And every time I kind of envision them as like two little characters on my shoulders, like the devil and the angel, except they're both kind of bad and they're both kind of good.
Yeah.
I need them to be advisors to me that say, hey, my opinion is this and my opinion is this. And then I, as the CEO, get to say, I like that this time. I don't like that this time. And I make the choice myself instead of letting them run the whole show.
Yeah. It's making me think of like Inside Out when all the little emotions are in your head and they're like, I'm in charge, I'm in charge, I'm in charge. And then like it just blows up because they're all trying to push the buttons and run them. Like that's what it is.
Brilliant.
You think of.
That is exactly it. It's like they need to be there because we need emotion. We need anxiety to make sure that we don't touch the stove. Yeah.
Right.
But he can't drive. He can't be the one controlling the whole board.
Yep.
I always say he. I think anxiety is a girl in Inside Out, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I should stop doing that. We're just taking the panel away. Now they're working together as a team. Okay. As soon as you do that, and I know this sounds crazy. I know it sounds woo-woo. This is totally off brand for me. My business does not succeed if I'm telling you not to look at your financial statements. So that's why I need you to believe that this is true because I have nothing to sell you here. There's no good. I'm an accountant. I'm basically outing myself, right? But like when you start identifying those two voices for what they actually are, and then you kind of just shrink them down to that healthy level where you're like, oh, that's an interesting point. thank you so much, and then you move on and make your own choice, I am telling you, you will start making the right choices. You will start making better decisions. And the right choice is not always the logical one. I need to be so clear with you that I am telling you your founder intuition, your emotion at that time, the time pressure you're under, all of those factors that as accountants we can't see are factors that should go into your decision. That is incredibly important to me for you to understand. I just don't need your brain swimming in cortisol when you make those decisions.
Yep. Totally.
That's it. So, here's a little teaser for the rest of what we're going to be talking about. Number one is I actually just last night was on Facebook, which I'm never on Facebook, but I'm looking for a certain chair for my living room. So I'm on Marketplace all the time. Happened to stumble across a girl that's here locally, that's a financial therapist. How crazy is that? The timing is just insane.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to be on more podcasts. So what did I do? I invited her on our podcast.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited because I'm like, I know this much about everything I just talked about. So we invited our new friend, the financial therapist, to come see if we're totally insane or if she believes in the same things. I might send her this and have her prep and then have her come argue with me next time about where I got it wrong or give us more information, more evidence that we're on the right track. So we're going to hear from her, which I'm freaking excited about. I'm like, this will be super interesting. And then in the rest of the book, I talk about the 4 different archetypes, or basically there's kind of 4 different reactions that come up when we start seeing this pattern. And we go one of 4 ways down the path of kind of these 2 spirals. I call them archetypes, like 4 different personality types, but I've come to discover that each one of us experiences each of the archetypes depending on the situation. So we're going to talk about each of the archetypes. And so that, again, you can start recognizing what is coming up for you when something is going wrong or happening to you. And you can kind of combat it and work with it in a way that allows you to make the right choice anyways, the more profitable choice anyways. So I'm super jazzed about that. And then at the very end of the book, I just talk about a couple of ways to reach kind of a different financial maturity. Again, I have this theory that the financial maturity we've been trying to reach is the wrong one. So I'm going to introduce what I think it should look like. How does that sound?
I love it.
I'm excited about it.
Yes.
No one else in the entire world might be excited about it, but I'm choosing not to care. And if anything about my brief, very limited TikTok experience this weekend taught me anything, it's that I think we need to be talking about this a little bit more, not a little bit less. Because I think people are just desperate for a change. So this is my approach. We'll see if it sticks.
I love it. It's exciting.
Any other comments after my hour-long lecture, Kenzie? Please.
No, I don't think so. I think this is fun. And I think it's this new wave of looking at finances. And I think also people are scared to start a business, to be an entrepreneur, because money is scary sometimes and they don't know how they're going to do it. And I feel like this new wave of finance that we're going to introduce and that you're going to introduce to people will, I think, help push people over that line to be like, you know what, I can do it. And here are the tools, because I know what could happen and I might come across a situation, but now I have these tools to know, hey, when this happens, this is what I got to do. And this is what I got to do to stay on that upward spiral. So upward spiral. Wow. That was.
I love it. And that is the goal. I have like literal flow charts in the books of like, when this, do this as a CFO, but also as a founder and owner myself. Because again, I think one of the things the accounting industry has gotten wrong, and no shame to the accounting industry, because to our credit, we were never taught this. We were raised and then went through a whole accounting program taught by Robot Dad. Okay. Like if anybody taught us anything about accounting, it was Robot Dad that told us black and white, this is truth, these are facts. right? So it's not your accountant's fault. However, it does need to change. And I think that that's exactly it, is like, we've never handed you the tools as someone who understands the finances, but also as business owners ourselves, to be like, this is when to trust your gut. This is when to lean into your P&L.
Yep.
This is when to take it for fact. And this is when to listen to King Feelbad that's telling you this, that, and the other, right? So that's my goal for small business owners that work with us, is like, I want to be able to teach you what to do in those situations and what decisions to make, but not the way that we've historically done it. And that's what I'm excited about.
Love it.
Okay, amazing. Well, if you're on social media, go comment on our video or just go scroll through the
Give
funny
us some
because
heart
free
emojis,
entertainment.
some money emojis, or
Yes,
whatever.
yes. Contribute to the conversation. Seriously, it's been so fun just to have these conversations with people and like learn all the different things that, people are thinking about when it comes to being a business owner, or how they feel about accounting. I don't know, taxes, the whole conversation. I love um hearing all of the opinions, even though I made fun of the one guy at the beginning. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I promise not to make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant to do. But um yeah, would love for you guys to follow us on social media. On Instagram, we're the Profitability Project LLC. Kind of a mouthful. It's a long one. Once you follow us, it's there forever. On TikTok, it's my TikTok, Joey Albertson, and LinkedIn is Joey Albertson as well. Also, we're putting a lot more content out about this stuff. So if this was interesting or you want to learn more about it, please follow us on the platforms. I have tons and tons of resources coming out in the next few months. So follow along. And we'll see you next time.